Before we start today's subject, just a quick intro from Kinsey Tech. We want you to know that all the videos that we have on Python, the code that we use is downloadable. So if you go to kinseytech.com and then you can choose the courses, in this case, Python, or you could just go straight to kinseytech.com/course/Python. You'll find the chapters, you'll find the lessons. You can take the course, which is absolutely free. And then within each lesson, you can click on, you'll find a document where you can click and download it, and you'll find whether there is websites or links or any code segments, you can download them absolutely free. Enjoy the journey. Hello and welcome as we continue our journey into learning Python. Python is truly an amazing language. Whether you have a background in software development, such as Java or C# or any other object-oriented programming, or you don't, it's just important to know that Python programs are typically 3 to 5 times shorter than the equivalent Java program for the same functionality. And that's for a lot of reasons. Python programmer does not have to spend time declaring all the types of arguments or variables. Also, Python has a very powerful polymorphic list and dictionary types. So there's a lot of features that makes it very powerful. There's a couple of distinctions, and think that if you programmed before, you need to be aware of. If you haven't programmed, well, you don't have to worry about it as much. And that's indentation. So indentation, think about it as a sentence. The way I write my sentence. So in a lot of languages, you could start that sentence and by saying, good morning, comma, my name is so-and-so. Or you could say good morning and then just go to the next line and finish it. So the way you order things on different lines doesn't affect it as much as in Python, where it's a little bit more sensitive to things. So let's step in, share the screen, and look at it together. All right, so now let's look at it together. What we like to type is a simple sentence or line of code. We haven't got into the if statement yet, but let's just look at this so that we can see what we mean by indentation, so that if you're writing programs, if you've written programs before, we don't fall in some of those pitfalls. Here's a line of code where we're comparing two numbers. We're saying if, here's the first number, which is a 5, is greater than the second number, which is a 2, semicolon, here's the rest of the sentence. Print, which means put this message out there. First number is greater than the second number. So if I put a number such as 5 is greater than 2, then it's going to print this out. If I put 1 is greater than 2, it's not, so nothing is going to be printed out because I have an if statement. It's just a condition. So if the condition is true, if 5 is greater than 2, it's going to say the first number, which is 5, is greater than the second number, which is the 2. If I put 1, it's not going to put it out there. So let's go ahead and copy this line of code and put it into our editor. Now let's go ahead and run it. And by the way, before we do that, also, you can play around with the settings. So let's go to settings. We want to make sure we can see things better. So we can change the appearance. We can change the font and the font type and the colors. Right now, we're just worried about the font size. We want you to be able to see it better. All right. So we pasted it. And it's if 5 is greater than 2, let's run it. If it is, it's going to give us this value. And sure enough, we can run it. And then we could also remove it or change it. Now it's the opposite. So if we run it, nothing is going to appear here because that's not true. However, in most languages, one thing that we could do is start off a new sentence, start off a new line. So in a lot of other programming languages, this would work. So let's go ahead and run it. And quickly we'll find that no, it's saying I don't understand line number 2. Line number 2 doesn't add up, doesn't make sense, because it's a continuation of the sentence of the line of code. It expects it to be tabbed in. We tab it in. We have to do a tab in there. Now it should work. So let's go ahead and run it. And sure enough, it works. And if this value is more, so if this was a 5, then it would have our value, which is first number is greater than the second number. So indentation basically means that spacing. And notice if I move that at the beginning, you're going to have something with there's a red line under the P, basically saying that there's something wrong. I don't get the syntax. So this is one of the little things that we're going to notice. And also we're going to get into with variables, case sensitive and stuff like that. So if you haven't done programming, it's easy to learn all of it. If you've done some programming, again, you don't want to confuse it. So you just want to be aware of some of those pitfalls, such as indentation. When you have a line of code, that the entire line of code either partially needs to be tabbed in, as in this case, or it could all be the same line. Otherwise, we might get an error message if we do. you know what the reason is. All right. We'll see you in the next session. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining us in today's session. We hope that you enjoyed it. And we'd like to invite you to a lot of our free sessions. Simply visit our website at kinseytech.com/events. Thank you again.